You bought a truck expecting the engine to be your biggest concern. Maybe the transmission. Maybe rust after a decade of hard work. But what if I told you the part most likely to put your truck out of service isn't made of steel at all? It's a sensor. A tiny electronic component that can cost thousands of dollars, take months to replace, and in some cases make an otherwise perfect truck practically worthless. That's not a prediction for the future. It's already happening. And if you own a modern pickup or plan to buy one, you need to understand why. For decades, truck ownership was simple. If something broke, you fixed it. Engines were out, transmissions failed, suspension components needed replacing. Every repair was mechanical. Every problem had a physical solution. The truck belonged to you because almost every part of it could be repaired, replaced, or rebuilt. That world is disappearing. Today's pickup isn't just a machine. It's a rolling computer network. Modern trucks from 2020 through 2026 contain dozens and in many cases well over 100 electronic modules constantly communicating with each other. Cameras monitor the road. Radar sensors track surrounding vehicles. Ultrasonic sensors measure distance. Control modules manage everything from steering to braking, lighting, climate control, fuel delivery, and even your key fob. You're not simply buying horsepower anymore. You're buying software. And software has changed the rules of truck ownership. Imagine backing into a parking lot at 5 miles per hour. Years ago, you might have dented a bumper. A body shop could straighten the metal, repaint it, and you'd be back on the road. Today, that same bumper might contain radar sensors for adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, cross-traffic alerts, parking assistance, and emergency braking systems. Damage one sensor or even slightly change its mounting position and the truck may refuse to trust its own safety systems. Replacing the bumper isn't enough. The sensors often require calibration using specialized equipment. Some modules must be programmed with factory-authorized software. Others need security authentication before they'll even communicate with the truck. A simple accident can suddenly become a repair costing several $1,000s. And that's assuming replacement parts are available. Over the past few years, thousands of owners have experienced long repair delays because electronic components were backordered for weeks or even months. In many cases, the mechanical parts were ready. The truck could physically drive. But one missing electronic module kept the vehicle parked indefinitely. Think about that. A truck with a perfectly healthy engine, a perfectly functioning transmission, a solid frame, good suspension. But one unavailable electronic component turns the entire vehicle into a very expensive driveway decoration. That's a level of dependency truck owners rarely think about when signing purchase papers. Here's where the problem becomes even bigger. Modern electronic systems aren't isolated. They're interconnected. One faulty sensor doesn't always affect just one feature. It can trigger warning lights across multiple systems because computers depend on information from one another. A damaged wheel speed sensor might disable anti-lock brakes, traction control, stability control, adaptive cruise control, and lane keeping assistance simultaneously. One failed communication module can generate dozens of warning messages that make diagnosing the actual problem incredibly time-consuming. Repair shops increasingly spend hours identifying electronic faults before replacing a single part. Labor costs climb. Diagnostic fees increase. Software subscriptions become necessary. The repair bill grows long before anyone turns a wrench. But who benefits from all this complexity? Certainly not the owner. Manufacturers have legitimate reasons for adding advanced safety technology. Many of these systems genuinely help prevent accidents and improve driving. But increased complexity also means repairs often require proprietary software, specialized tools, calibration equipment, and authorized access that independent repair shops may not always have. Instead of replacing a part and driving away, owners may need dealership programming, manufacturer-approved procedures, and software updates before the truck is fully functional again. In other words, repairing the truck becomes less about mechanical skill and more about digital permission. That's a massive shift in ownership. Because if you can't fully repair something without manufacturer approval, how much control do you really have over it? Now consider long-term ownership. Most truck buyers plan to keep their pickups for 10 or even 15 years. But electronic components age differently than mechanical ones. Sensors become obsolete. Modules are discontinued. Software support eventually ends. Suppliers stop manufacturing older electronics. 10 years from now, finding a replacement engine may actually be easier than locating a discontinued control module that was produced in limited quantities. That's the uncomfortable reality many buyers never consider. The engine may outlive the electronics surrounding it. And when critical electronic parts become unavailable, the truck's remaining mechanical life suddenly doesn't matter as much. This is why some industry experts believe repairability, not horsepower, will become one of the most valuable characteristics of future used trucks. The smartest buyers are already paying attention. They aren't just asking how many miles a truck has. They're asking how dependent it is on expensive electronics. They're researching parts availability. They're comparing repair histories. They're looking beyond glossy touchscreens and focusing on long-term ownership costs. This approach has a name: the Repairability Advantage. Instead of chasing the newest technology, the Repairability Advantage focuses on buying trucks that balance modern capability with manageable electronic complexity. These owners understand that the cheapest truck to own isn't always the one with the lowest purchase price. It's the one that can still be repaired affordably years after the warranty expires. If you're shopping for a truck, start thinking differently. Research common electronic failures for the model you're considering. Check whether replacement modules are readily available. Ask independent repair shops how difficult those trucks are to diagnose. Look into calibration costs after minor collisions. Understand which safety systems require specialized programming. And most importantly, calculate total ownership, not just monthly payments. Because the sticker price is only the beginning. The real cost of ownership often doesn't appear until years later, when warranties have expired and electronic components begin failing one by one. That's when the difference between a repairable truck and an unrepairable truck becomes painfully clear. The owners who understand this today will likely save thousands tomorrow. Everyone else may learn the lesson after a single sensor turns an otherwise perfect pickup into a vehicle that's simply too expensive or too difficult to fix. And here's the question almost nobody is asking. If one small electronic component can determine whether your truck lives or dies, who really owns the truck? Because once software controls repairs, replacement parts require digital authorization, and manufacturers decide how systems communicate. Ownership starts to look very different than it did just a generation ago. And that may be the biggest change the truck industry has ever quietly introduced.